Camerounaises, Camerounais, mes chers compatriotes, depuis la proclamation des résultats tronqués,
Number 1. Hello world. Welcome once again to Intervlog, the platform where Africa speaks to the world, and the world listens. Today, we bring you an unfolding story from the heart of Central Africa, a story of democracy, defiance, and destiny. It is the story of Cameroon, a nation at the crossroads, gripped by tension, uncertainty, and a people's growing demand for change. In recent weeks, the calm of Cameroon has been replaced by the echoes of protest, anger, and repression. Streets once filled with the laughter of students and workers are now lined with gendarmes and barricades. Homes once vibrant with music are now closed in silence, as citizens heed a call, not of celebration, but of civil resistance. The trigger? A disputed presidential election held on October 12th that has now plunged this proud Central African nation into deep political and social turmoil. On Friday morning, Issa Tchiroma, the opposition leader and former minister, delivered a powerful address to the nation. His message was not one of vengeance, but of silent protest. He called on all Cameroonians to stay home, to close their shops, suspend their work, and bring the country to a standstill beginning Monday, November 3rd. He described the post-election situation as the confiscation of power, a moment when the voice of the people, expressed through the ballot box, was, in his words, trampled upon. In his speech, Tchiroma declared, "The will of the people has been confiscated, the sovereignty of the people trampled upon, but this time, the people have a reason. Standing tall and strong, dignified and courageous, they said no to the confiscation of power." He urged citizens to resist not with weapons, but with silence. He said, "Let the entire country come to a standstill so that the world knows we are resisting and will not yield." But as the opposition called for peace, violence was already taking shape in the streets. In the days following the election, reports emerged from Douala, Buea, Yaoundé, and Cheng of clashes, arrests, and shed. Protesters demanding transparency were met with tear gas and gunfire. According to eyewitnesses, 4 protesters were killed in Douala the day before the official results were announced. Among the more than 100 arrested was Professor Jean-Calvin Abaa Oyono of the University of Yaoundé II, a close ally of Tchiroma Bakari. For many, these images revived traumatic memories of 1984, when similar unrest erupted under the same leadership. For others, it symbolized a cycle repeating itself, of elections that divide rather than unite. Tchiroma described this violence poignantly. Across all regions, from the north to south, east to west, Cameroonians expressed themselves peacefully, with the only weapon granted to them by the Constitution, their vote. Yet this voice was met with a clash of weapons. A live bullet answered the song of freedom. Perhaps the most controversial moment came when a viral video surfaced online. In the video, the president of the Constitutional Council, the very institution tasked with protecting the integrity of the vote, was allegedly seen celebrating with champagne, boasting of securing the victory of the incumbent. Tchiroma described it as a shame for the republic. While families mourned their loved ones, those accused of denying the people's will were, he said, feasting in intoxication. Such images, powerful, emotional, and damning, spread rapidly across social media, deepening public outrage and further eroding trust in state institutions. Following these events, Tchiroma announced that he had left his residence in Garua, now under the protection of what he called loyalist elements of the army. His whereabouts remain unknown, but his message remains clear. The fight for democratic accountability, he insists, continues. He sent a message to those detained, saying, "To all those who have been arbitrarily arrested, to my kidnapped family members, hang in there. I will not rest until this regime gives you victory." This statement has been interpreted by his supporters as a vow of persistence. But to the government, it is seen as an act of defiance, perhaps even rebellion. From the ruling camp, the reaction was swift and strong. President Paul Biya, at 92 years old and already in power for 43 years, was officially declared the winner with 53.66% of the vote. The Constitutional Council dismissed Tchiroma's claims as baseless, warning that self-proclaimed victories violate Cameroonian law. Government spokesperson Jacques Ndongo, who also serves as Minister of Higher Education, described Tchiroma's actions as a grotesque hoax, emphasizing that only the Constitutional Council has the legal authority to announce results. His words echoed through state media. It is an inadmissible act in a state governed by the rule of law. However, as often happens in contested elections, the debate spilled into the academic world. University professors, once seen as neutral voices, found themselves divided. Some, like Professor Aboya Manasseh, sided with the government, saying, any political leader who aspires to lead the nation must respect the institutions that govern elections. The rush to self-proclaim victory only breeds conflict. But others, including respected voices such as Professor Jean Behabek and Professor Victor Ngo, argued that the system itself was compromised. They accused university officials aligned with the regime of aiding electoral manipulation and destroying the independence of academia. Professor Behabek stated, university officials backing the Biya regime only help to perpetuate a failed system. We yearn for change, real change that can bring reform and development. Beyond the political noise, one of the most visible casualties of this crisis has been education. From Yaoundé to Bamenda, from Douala to Buea, universities have been paralyzed. Students have been told to stay home for their own safety. Lecture halls stand empty. Libraries gather dust. A fourth-year student at the University of Yaoundé lamented, I was supposed to complete my project work, but my supervisor was at political rallies. Now I have to wait. We don't know when normal life will resume. In the Anglophone regions, the situation is even worse. Separatist groups enforcing ghost town orders have extended their lockdowns, shutting schools, markets, and transport hubs, effectively freezing life. One can almost feel the collective exhaustion of a generation trapped between politics and uncertainty. At Intervlog, we often say that Africa's truths are best told not only through facts, but through parables, short lessons drawn from the wisdom of our ancestors. Today, let us share 4 French parables that speak to Cameroon's moment and explain them in English for our global audience. Parable 1. Quand le tambour change de rythme, le danseur doit changer de pas. When the drum changes its rhythm, the dancer must change his steps. This proverb reminds us that leadership must adapt to the rhythm of the people. If those in power refuse to listen, the dance of the nation turns into disorder. Cameroon's people are beating a new rhythm, one of reform and renewal, but the government still dances to the old song of control. Parable 2. On ne couvre pas le soleil avec la main. You cannot cover the sun with your hand. Truth, like the sun, cannot be hidden forever. No matter how many statements, decrees, or celebrations are issued, the reality of people's suffering and frustration will always find light. The more one tries to suppress it, the brighter it shines. Parable 3. Quand la rivière est en crue, le pêcheur prudent reste sur la berge. When the river floods, the wise fisherman stays on the bank. This parable teaches patience in times of national crisis. It calls for calm reflection rather than blind reaction. In Cameroon's current turbulence, wisdom lies not in escalating violence, but in understanding when to wait and when to act. Parable 4. Le vent n'éteint pas le feu de la vérité. The wind cannot extinguish the fire of truth. Repression may silence a voice, but it cannot erase an idea. When truth burns within a people's heart, it becomes unquenchable. It might bend with the wind, but it will not die. Cameroon's truth, the people's demand for genuine democracy, continues to burn despite all attempts to suppress it. The crisis in Cameroon is not just a political confrontation between Paul Biya and Issa Tchiroma Bakari. It is a generational reckoning, a confrontation between an old system and a young, restless population demanding something different. For the youth, many of whom were born long after Biya first came to power in 1982, The idea of leadership renewal is not rebellion. It is survival. They seek jobs, education, and dignity. They want to be heard. And as universities remain silent and campuses empty, that silence speaks louder than words. Globally, the response to Cameroon's crisis has been muted. Diplomatic statements express concern, but stop short of condemnation. Regional bodies urge dialogue, but none have intervened directly. For many Cameroonians, this quietness feels like betrayal, as though the world has chosen to look away while democracy is tested. Yet history tells us that silence does not mean indifference. Observers are watching, weighing, and waiting. The future of Cameroon will be written not by foreign diplomats, but by Cameroonians themselves, through resilience, reflection, and unity. And so, as the nation braces for the shutdown called by the opposition, the question remains: what comes next? Will the streets remain silent in protest? Will the government open a door to dialogue? Or will the cycle of confrontation deepen? Whatever happens, Cameroon stands at a critical moment in its history, one that could either divide it further or finally spark a new national conversation. At Intervlog, we do not take sides. Our duty is to tell the story, fully, fairly, and fearlessly. Because stories like these matter. They are the heartbeat of a continent striving for balance between power and people, between fear and freedom. As we close this edition, we leave you with one reflection. In the furnace of struggle, nations are refined. In the silence of pain, people rediscover their strength. And in the dawn after the storm, truth always finds its voice. Cameroon's voice, though shaken, is still alive. Its students, its workers, its teachers, its farmers, all still dream of a nation where votes count, justice reigns, and peace prevails. And so, as November unfolds, the world watches, not just to see what will happen in Cameroon, but to see what the future of African democracy will look like, when the people finally decide that silence must speak louder than sound. This is the end of our program today. See you on Intervlog same time tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon to get new video updates. Thank you for watching Intervlog. Thank you.